welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living, St. George. Might not be morning when you're watching this, but whatever time of day it is, welcome. My name is Anita Sheff. I'm a licensed practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm going to be guiding you in this pre-service meditation today. So the purpose of this meditation time is to prepare us to be receptive to the message that we hear in our Sunday service. And as I thought about the title today, The One and Only, I thought of the name for the divine that was revealed to Moses in the Christian Bible. And that name was I Am. And in our language style of today, we think I am is an incomplete sentence, but actually, to my way of thinking, it is the most succinct, direct, and complete and inclusive way of naming something that is really unnameable, indescribable, which is the divine spirit. And I love it because I am is open-ended. Ernest Holmes realized that God is so far beyond description that he called it the thing itself, which I also think is beautiful. So today I'm going to be using the words of the psalmist, "Be still and know that I am God." And that will lead us into meditation. And I'm going to be speaking brief statements and then leaving periods of silence for you to take those words in for yourself. So let's get started by being seated in a comfortable position, comfortable but alert. And you may want to close your eyes or just gaze without really taking anything in particular into focus. And we know that the simplest way to induce relaxation is by breathing deeply and slowly. So we're going to start with 3 intentional breaths. Breathe in slowly and easily, just to where your lungs feel comfortably full. And breathe out, letting go of any tension in your body from your head to your toes. And breathe in as if this is the most refreshing breath you have taken today. And breathe out, letting go of all mental busyness and distraction. And breathe in, imagining the flow of oxygen bathing every cell in your body. And breathe out, settling into your calm, centered space. And then continue breathing in your own natural rhythm. Be still. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. I am the cause and source of all creation. Be still and know with absolute certainty that I am. Infinite intelligence, order, and harmony. I am perfect love. I have created everything as an expression of love. I am perfect peace. I am the peace that exists in all things. I am light, energy. I am the quantum universe of all potential. I am life. I am your life. Be still and know that I am the one and only. I am the thing itself. Be still and know that I am that I am. As I am, you are. You are a magnificent version of spirit. Be still and know that I am all there is. I am. Breathe in this name, I am, and claim it for yourself. I am. Taking another deep breath, just gently begin to come back into the awareness of your body and your surroundings. Wake up your fingers and toes. Open your eyes. Stretch. Give yourself a hug. And let a smile come to your face. You are loved. Thank you for being with me in this spiritual journey. And our service will begin in just a few minutes.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Boy, I just love those videos, Shay. Thank you so much for doing those for us. I just have a big smile on my face every Sunday when I get to see those in-person gathering pictures and images with your beautiful songs. So thank you. So I'm Chris McCardle. I'm a practitioner here at Centers for Spiritual Living, and we are a open and loving, inclusive community, and we support thinking creatively and living our own deep spiritual lives. We also have a purpose statement at Centers for Spiritual Living, and that is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence and to awaken our community to its divine nature and the greatest expression of who we are. And our lineup for today, this week's service team, would be our tech behind the scene is our lovely Marina. Beautiful meditation. Anita, fantastic. Anita will also be doing our invocation. I am your host. We do have a special service lined up with you today. Shay is doing our music, and Bill will be doing the reading. And guess what, folks? The practitioners are doing the talk today. I don't know if all of you know this, but at one point there was an emergency came up for one of our speakers, and we didn't have a speaker to do the talk right away. And we had to come together as practitioners and decide, what are we going to do? So we decided, let's just do a practitioner talk, so to speak. Unplugged, practitioners unplugged. And that's what you're going to get today. So later on for the talk discussion, we're going to bring all the practitioners in and we're going to share with you some practitioner conversation. So now it's time for Shay to do our music part of today's service, which I always love. Shay, thank you and welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Practitioners Unplugged is one of my faves, so I'm excited to be here.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to go through this song, There Is Only Love by Michael Gott, and then we're going to sing it together. So I feel free to just listen to these words and affirm them with me. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Anita's going to rejoin us and do our invocation. Good morning, Anita.
Take a nice breath with me. And let me speak this prayer to include everyone who hears my voice. There is only love. There is only one presence, one power, one infinite intelligence, and one mind through which it does its work. And I know that love as God, the Spirit, the divine, and I am a part of it. My name is love. And I know that for each person who has ever lived on this planet. And I remember each one listening to this service today. For we are love. We are the beloved. And we are the lover of all life. And so in today's service, as we open to our own inner wisdom, that wisdom that comes through the mind, I know that each of us is blessed in a unique and individual way. And that blessing is exactly what we need for this day. Exactly what will inspire us in our next move, our next step in our evolution. And so we are all blessed by this service today. I know that the practitioners bring to us a very special message that comes from the heart, unplugged from thought, and definitely plugged into the heart. And so I call this service good, knowing in advance that it is already, and I'm so grateful. And I let that be. So it is.
So it is. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. And now, Practitioner Bill Smith, welcome to service. Bill's going to
Good morning, Shay.
with
Thank
us
you.
this morning. Good morning.
And there is only love. I love that. Today's reading I've selected is from Ernest Holmes, our founder, from the Science of Mind textbook, page 407, if you're following along at home. It goes like this. Spirit, then, is all there is at this very hour, and all creation is spiritual. The universe is a spiritual system impregnated with divine ideas and peopled with spiritual forms. The ideas of God are perfect laws on their way to producing complete and perfect effects. The universe is alive, conscious, awake, and aware. It is love and life. It is law and order. It is a cosmos. Mind is forever conscious of itself and what it does. Its consciousness is its law. Its consciousness is perfect, and its laws are perfect. Mind cannot be conscious of anything but itself, since it is all. Spirit is conscious of man, since man exists, and since God must be conscious of all that is. Therefore, man is, because God is conscious of him. And God's consciousness of man must be complete and perfect. Generic man must be held in the mind of God as a complete and perfect manifestation of the divine. And so it is. Back to you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Bill. So this year we are living everyday wonder, and in July our focus has been relationships, and today's talk is the one and only. And the one and only is the one, is God, is manifest everything, right? And Ernest Holmes tells us, indeed, God is all there is. God includes everything, all possibility and all action. For spirit is the invisible essence and substance of all form. And as Anita reminded us in that beautiful prayer, it's all about love, right? We are love and the beloved. And Rumi offers this. He says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So sometimes we just simply block our own way. And certainly these times recently have been challenging. And this is a song that I wrote a couple of years ago and have sort of tweaked a little bit to just remind us that spirit is always available and that it's up to us to make that connection and to be part of that one consciously and deliberately. This is the whisper of the word. The times are surely changing, the days are rearranging. I feel the unfamiliar moving in. I could be so uncertain, trying to see behind the curtain, but there's nothing there for proving or to win. And so I go inside, I let my mind be quiet, I take the time that I put off for tonight so that it can be heard, the whisper of the word. Spirit's there everywhere, and when I choose to know, I find it. The news sends out its warning, and the world responds in mourning, how to hold it all without being consumed. Dear ones near and far seem farther, and fear wants us not to bother, but love will always find a way to bloom. And so I go inside, I let my mind be quiet, I take the time that I put off for tonight so that it can be heard, the whisper of the word. Spirit's there everywhere, yes, I will go inside and let my mind be quiet. I take the time that I put off for tonight. Spirit's there everywhere, and when I choose to know, I find it. Okay, back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Cheryl. I so
Thanks,
love that
buddy.
song. I hope one day to hear that on the radio.
Oh,
It
love
would
you,
just,
buddy.
I just think it's that good.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
do.
you, kind sir.
Okay. All right, everybody. How are you all doing? Today, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be the Practitioners Unplugged. So we're going to have all our practitioners here in a moment. And how I decided to start off today was I would read a little story. And then the slide after that is when we'll bring in the rest of the practitioners and we are going to be unplugged. And how that works is, oh, there is Reverend Joe. And he will be starting us off.
Yeah, let's put a pause on that for a minute, buddy, because I want to introduce you guys. And I agree with you. I'll tell you what, if Shay published that song, I think every center would be playing that.
I do too.
What talent we have here. It's amazing. Center. Oh, I'm still here. That's okay. Good morning, my beloved community. I hope you're enjoying the service so far between Anita's beautiful meditation and the music and the reading from Bill. Just again, small for now, small but mighty center that we are. So it's my pleasure today just to do a brief review of what we've been talking about this month, and it's really all about relationships. We started off with the relationship with ourself, which of course is the most important, because the bottom line is if we're not having a sacred, holy relationship with ourselves, then it's hard for us to absorb anything else. And then we moved into talking about relationships between ourselves and another. And then we evolved into looking at relationships between ourselves and groups, as in society, and how we interact with that, and how one affects the other. We're congruent. There's only one. And now we're going to get to really focus on our relationship with Source, that there's only one thing happening, one relationship, and that is God being with God, that we are all of that. And what we're going to do, at least we're trying, this is the 5th Sunday of the month, and as much as I love talking, I'm going to not bore you in a sense, but we want to change things up because we have such a creative practitioner core that they're going to do, as Chris said, like a service unplugged, practitioners unplugged. I call them my Fab Five. So they're going to have an open discussion, and I think it's important to recognize that practitioners are just, I'm going to say just, but people who are willing to follow their education, follow their spirit, learn as much as they can. And then the most important part is put it into practice, right? Because we can all read books and gain knowledge, but until it's practical, it's almost not real, right? So if I say I'm someone of love and I don't show up in love, how does that work? How does that feel? So they're going to focus today on the one and only, and they're going to have a brilliant conversation. So I do want to welcome Chris back in, and I'm going to let him take it away. So Chris, the Fab Five, buddy, you're leading them.
Here we go. We are definitely unplugged. I will let everyone know that we're not rehearsed. We have a bunch of slides that actually some material that comes to ministers. It's the same material that comes to everyone that inspires the talk every Sunday. Some ministers use it religiously, others don't. They just use parts of it or whatever. So what we decided to do today is just to pull up some key points out of there, and then have the practitioners read them, and then we're going to just discuss. It's just live. It's what we are as practitioners and how we see these topics. So I'm going to start us off. If Marina could make this story big, and I'm just going to read this story. According to an old Hindu legend, there was a time when all human beings were gods, but they abused their divinity. So Brahma, the chief god, decided to take the divinity away from them and hide it somewhere that they could never find it. So Brahma called a council of the gods, and he wanted to have them help him decide where to hide this divinity. Well, let's bury it deep in the earth, said the gods. But Brahma answered, now humans will dig into the earth and they'll find it. And so some of the gods suggested, let's sink it into the deepest ocean. But Brahma said, no, humans will learn to dive into the ocean and will find it. Then some gods suggested, let's take it to the top of the highest mountain and hide it there. And Brahma replied, humans will eventually climb every mountain and take up their divinity. Then all the gods gave up and said, we do not know where to hide it because it seems that there is no place on earth or ocean that human beings will not eventually reach. Brahma thought about it for a time and he said, we will hide their divinity into the center of their own being. Humans will search for it there, but they will never look for the divinity inside their true selves. All the gods agreed, and this was the perfect hiding place. The deed was done, and since then, humans have been going up and down the earth, digging, diving, climbing, and exploring, and searching for something which already lies within themselves. So that's where we're going to open up for today's Practitioners Unplugged. So if we could have the next slide and all the practitioners will get going. There is Anita, there is Bill, there is Mary, and there is Star. We are the Fab Five, as Joe calls us. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
Good, good, good. So the first question is up, and I will go ahead and give that to Bill.
All right, here we go. Can there really be a distinction between the sacred, the mundane, and the profane? The holy, non-holy, and unholy? There is only God, which means the question becomes, if I call this person or event unholy or profane, in what ways are the creative principles of the law being used to demonstrate such an experience, and what truth is being called forth to know that this condition is healed?
Good question.
All right. Yeah, it is a good question. And, but it kind of brings us back to, if we are truly one and all one, as we know that we are, then the unholy, there is no such thing as an unholy. And there's no such thing as something that is profane. It is all us, and it is all part of our current experience, and it is part of the one life that we live. Mary?
I'd just like to add that we would look through this discord or this ugliness and truly see the perfect and true spiritual truth that everything is perfect, whole, and complete. Even not that we're not denying this discord, but we understand that that's not the truth, and that we look past that. And we do that in helping others heal when we do our sessions with practitioners.
And as Joe mentioned, we're practitioners. I think we should be called practitioners, because these things, they come to us, and we take the opportunity to really look at them, and we have to step back and really find the oneness in them all. And that's, as a practitioner, I mean, it happens. This stuff happens, but I feel like we use our teaching, and we step back and try to find the oneness and the connection in it all. And there's always an answer for me.
I would just add that I think we can't compartmentalize life, because life is life on all levels. And so if we believe that God is all there is and that life is sacred, then we have to believe that life is sacred on all levels, regardless of how it's showing up.
And I have to agree with that, because if God is, that means the profane, the unholy, all of the stuff that's coming up to show its ugly or beautiful face in us is there for a purpose. The purpose is to heal. What we think is an appearance is not. It's just there to bring up any belief that we might have, whether we're working with someone else and their story is affecting us in some way. Then it's for us to look at, to heal, and to release, because it is God. God is the only thing that is out there. And so I can't separate the profane from the holy. But I can choose to go with whatever I'm feeling and decide what it is that I'm feeling, and can I release it or can I increase it?
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that when some of these situations appear before us, if we don't really take it and, bring it into our hearts and recognize it as the divine and the oneness, that some of the stuff continues to keep coming? Bill?
I do recognize that, Chris, and I think that's a good. I'd like to circle back to your story if I could, and I love that story, and I think Brahma had it right that we will look anywhere outside of ourselves to try to fix whatever problem or to find resolution to anything, and that certainly was the truth for me for the first 49 years of my life. It was all external. I was always looking elsewhere for the solution. And it wasn't until, I really dove into science of mind, that I really started to look internally. And that's where you really find that unity and that oneness and the ability to relate to God as all that it is. So, I think that I didn't want to move away from your story without kind of pushing the point a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully more of the story will come up in some of the other questions for the slide. And speaking of which, Marina, if you want to bring up the next question, and we'll go ahead and give this to Anita.
My relationship with everything demonstrates my relationship with God. How do we see this in our lives? Holding grudges, bitterness, righteous indignation, covert narcissism, people-pleasing, passive aggression, jealousy are all indicators of some idea we have about spirit and its felt or absent presence in our lives. As we heal each barrier to developing loving, forgiving, and wonderful relationships, we strengthen our relationship all around and in every aspect of our lives. Chris, that's not the slide that we cleaned up. We significantly whittled that down.
I know, but you know what? I know what happened is that on the slide it didn't get refreshed because you saw the changes. So anyway, it's good that it came up. I mean,
Okay.
It did. So.
Well, I have to have it in front of me in order to be able to address it.
Marina, could you put us over to the left and put the slide in the middle? There.
Thank you.
Okay. My relationship with everything demonstrates my relationship with God. I think that's the whole key to this slide. How I think about everything has to be how I think about the one that created it all and that has imparted itself into that everything. Again, we can't compartmentalize if God is all there is. So I know that there's one mind that we all use. So how I use that mind to think about things creates what I'm going to see. It creates my worldly reality, if you will. I think, a part of this slide, I think this is the one that is, I got to think about this a minute. It made me think of that. This holding grudges, bitterness, and righteous indignation, and all of that negative stuff. It made me think about that old song that I may be the only one here old enough to remember. Somebody done somebody wrong song. I think it was B.J. Thomas that sang that. I'm not sure.
You're right. Yeah.
Anyhow, it puts me back in the victim consciousness. Somebody's done something wrong to me. Somebody's made me feel bad about myself. And oh my gosh, do I really think that I'm a perfect creation of God, or am I just simply not enough? And often it comes back to that fear of not being enough, not being good enough. And by golly, those people that are doing me wrong are right. I don't deserve my good. So that's where I went with that discussion. And I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on it.
I know for me that feeling takes a big toll. I don't know if it's being female, but feeling is a big part of my life. And so when somebody pointed out to me once that whereas the one mind is just all inclusive of everything. So if I'm feeling poorly about anything, for me, it's my lack program, okay? Part of not enough. And it doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good. So they pointed out to me, but that's just spirit saying, choose again. You don't have to go and delve into why you don't feel good or why you aren't good enough. Just recognize spirit is saying, tickling you and just going, choose again. You can do something else. You can feel something else. Go to something else. Go to the next level up, or whatever I'm choosing. And when I do that, it has an opportunity to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And I've recognized that it does. And I've recognized that, yes, it might come up again. But then I say, oh, well, I must be choosing again, or maybe I'm going deeper. Okay. And I'm noticing that in the density of consciousness that we are in, it starts to lighten up, and I start to not see that again. It starts to not show up in my life again. And I'm just grateful. That's kind of how I'm starting to deal with it, or that I have been dealing with it.
I think it was Wayne Dyer that said, if you don't like the way something looks, look at it differently. Or a lot of teachers have said that. Mm-hmm. And that kind of applies here. And I know some of you have heard this story, but our viewers haven't. With my mother, my own mother, she could be difficult at times. And there would be times that she would agitate me or push the buttons, and we would get into a conflict, or just a bad kind of energy vibe. And it was very, very difficult for me. But as a practitioner in this philosophy and in this teaching, the idea of releasing and looking to see the divine, see the oneness in it all. I mean, this is the woman, the mother who gave me life, and she was being difficult for me. So I made a conscious decision to look at her and see her as my beautiful mother who has given me this life, and to completely let go of some of the words and some of the button pushing ideas that she was very, very capable and easily pushed. And it was the moment of sweet release. I let it go. I just said, I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to see my mom as the divine. I'm going to see her as the goddess to me. And honestly, the last 10 years of her life were the best our relationship ever was, because for some reason, she stopped pushing the buttons, and she even chose different words, and she was just a little bit more positive about things. So, when we see all this stuff showing up for us that's starting to trigger us, or it's agitating us, that's where we go into the oneness and see the oneness. And then mysteriously, it all starts to change, and we see God in it. That's what it speaks to me.
That's beautiful. I think you were putting out something different for her to see as a reflection.
Yeah.
And, that resulted in.
Yeah, it completely stopped. My siblings would say, how do you do it? How does this work? Because it didn't work for them.
Yeah.
And I would say, I just love her for who she is. And I know that what she says doesn't affect me. It can't change me. It can't hurt me, because she's my life force. She's what gave me life, and she's who taught me love. And I'm going to only give her that love back. And they never were successful, but I was for a good 10 years.
Beautiful.
I liked what Star was saying about we have a choice, and if you don't like what you're seeing right now, choose again and reselect but really we don't have the opportunity to do that, or speaking personally, I didn't have that opportunity or the wherewithal to select my happiness or my love or anything like that until I really established my relationship with God. And like you were saying, Chris, your relationship with your mother, and to be honest, until I had a really worked out my relationship with God, I didn't have a good relationship with anyone on this planet. My parents included, my love interests, my family, none of those relationships really worked that well for me until I became grounded in my own divinity and knew my oneness with God.
Mhm.
Mary,
Yeah.
are you?
We have so much power at our disposal to
Mhm.
use to help ourselves, and we don't recognize that.
Yeah. All right. So with that note, like how I just pull out notes, we'll have Marina bring up the next slide. And we will have Star read that one.
Our thoughts about the world are a direct reflection of our relationship with the God or good in our lives. They indicate what we are praying on any given day. My relationship with everything demonstrates my relationship with God. How do you see this in your life? In any relationship, there are strains. What spiritual tools come to mind when dealing with the most challenging relationships? Well, I guess I would say to that the one and only challenging relationship that there really truly is my relationship with myself and God. And once I clear limiting beliefs, my my argument with God that either I know better or what I feel is more important, or if I put importance on anything. For instance, yesterday I came to the realization that I was putting too much importance on money. And I had to surrender it. So I had to surrender my concept, my belief in what money is even for. I mean, I had to go that far to recognize that if my relationship with God is the purity and the intent that I have to honor that commitment that I have, then I have to also recognize that my good is God's will. And I don't have to care. I mean, I don't have to not care. I don't have to be concerned about where my next dollar is going to come from. Because if I surrender to my good, then my good is going to show up. And so I take the strain off of that relationship that I have with money by giving it back to God. All of my beliefs, all of my thoughts, all of my struggle, I turn it over to God and I say, I'm just going to give this back to you, God. I just want my relationship with God, that God is, to be more present than any struggle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
What this slide, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What this slide's telling me is what are we thinking about? What are we emotionally running through our consciousness every day?
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends who's a good friend is because I tend to have been a worrier in the past, and he told me worrying's praying for what you don't want.
Mhm.
So this question just keeps reminding me over and over and over. What am I constantly thinking about in my mind? What's happening when I'm walking down the street or when I'm just fidgeting? What are those thoughts? Because those are prayers.
Mhm.
Those are prayers. Those are our beliefs. If we're putting those thoughts over and over and over. So this slide to me is an invitation to really pay attention to what am I praying for in my mind unintentionally.
Mhm.
Very
I
good.
like this slide a lot.
I like that too. Yes, we are thinking, so we are praying without ceasing.
Yes.
We're creating by our thoughts. And I think it's good to ask ourselves, is my prayer life affirming or is it life demeaning? Is it constructive? Does it support the good of all life? Or is it destructive? And does it not recognize life as holy?
Yeah. Listen to what you're thinking. If someone's walking up who you have struggles with, is your brain going, oh God, here comes Molly Lollipop. I wonder what she's going to say. If you've got that kind of energy in your head, there's going to be an experience that's different than if you were to say, there's Molly Lollipop. Yeah, it's been tough, but I love this lady. I'm going to give her my full attention today. The whole experience will be different.
You and I had that opportunity to do that very thing this morning, didn't we?
Oh, I know, Molly Lollipop. That's what your nickname from now on.
I tell you, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And not all of you know me as well as Chris does. My wrong side of the bed is very wrong. And I had to recognize, just like Star was saying, to choose again. I got to choose how I was going to feel this morning. And I had to get into that realization very quickly. I did not have time to waste this morning, knowing that we were doing this service. And unless I wanted to come off with the kind of attitude that I can't say online, that I had to make a quick change. And my quick change was, okay, I'm not going to feel like this anymore. I'm going to go into this with joy and enthusiasm. I'm going to call Chris and he's going to talk me off the wall. And we are going to love each other as much as we always have, even though we may not have agreed on some of these points. And we ended up agreeing perfectly, of course, as we usually do.
Yeah, Mary, our timekeeper, has warned us that time's up. I'm doing the announcements afterwards because I am also the host today. So I'm going to rush through the announcements a little bit more. So Marina, could you bring up the next slide and we'll go ahead. We'll be a little bit more vague and remind everyone that we definitely are going to be in the Zoom call after service. So any of these conversations will be continued. So this one I'm going to have Mary read.
What does it mean to honor the divine in all, especially those who may not like or may not approve of their behavior? For example, how do you honor the divinity of the person who is a racial homophobic, racist, sexist, while you clearly do not accept or approve their homophobic, racist rhetoric? And how do you practice seeing God relating to them? So part of that has been said already in my mind is as we approach the more difficult or the racist or whatever, is I personally surround them in white light, and I'm almost go into prayer to look through their negativity and their radical behavior and truly try to remind myself of the divinity within them. And then approach it gently and kindly if I need to.
And that's easy. That's easy said for me. And that is something that being a practitioner, I have had to practice over and over and over again. And being a gay guy, there's a whole bunch of things here, and it's not just about being gay, but I had to not judge them for judging me and looking at me the way that I did not like them looking at me, because I was doing the same thing to them that they were doing to me. So in turn, I loved them again as an expression of the one, and a mirror for me to do self-work, to look within myself and say, why am I agitated by someone who believes something different than me, or someone that thinks less of me? And that's my practice. That's my work. That's my life as a practitioner. And I believe that that's each of us. And we do this work daily. And that's why it's so cool. We're here at this Practitioner Unplugged, because our viewers get to see us as us and how we work the principles of science of mind that we're taught. And
Plus, I also think sometimes it can mirror some subconscious beliefs or behaviors that you don't even realize you're harboring at times.
Right. And I think that that's directly goes hand in hand with what we believe, which is we believe in love and the law working as one. And the law says yes to everything, every thought, every nuance, every feeling. It's just multiplying it. That's the law of attraction. It's
Yep,
universal.
And there's, again, more talk about this at the Zoom meeting. I know that all of us have experienced this conversation. So the next slide I'm going to go ahead and read. It's kind of the in conclusion and our invitation to you guys to let's put this into practice. And by this, we're going to heed the words of Rumi and find all the places where we've built barriers to love. We can select one item: codependency, resentment, betrayal, whatever. And let's begin to do the work of healing and the transcending and the transmuting and the transforming, just like everything that we've talked about today. You know, you go within, you see the God within yourself and the entire experience that you're having in that moment, and you go with it. So in each relationship, let's look at how we can begin to overcome those barriers and be the love of the one and only. So there's a couple quotes left that I'm going to leave us with. Again, we'll be able to talk, and I'm going to go ahead and read those if Marina can bring them up, and we'll say goodbye to Bill and Anita and Mary and Star. I thank you guys. I love you guys. Great time today, and we'll see you in the Zoom meeting. Okay, it's funny. I like this quote, and Anita didn't, but we decided we were going to go ahead and leave it. So no one falls in love anymore, silly boy. Falling in love means falling out of love. Love is an emotion that comes as quickly as it goes. But choosing to love someone, choosing to love people is a far greater accomplishment than falling in love. When you choose to love a person, you focus your energy and your emotion to loving that person for who they are. There is no such thing as falling in love. You either want to love that person or you don't. And if you choose to love that person, you work on loving that person every day, no matter what. That's from Matthew Gillies, The Master and the Servant. I just love that. And the final quote for today is: treat your relationship as if you are growing the most beautiful sacred flower. It can start out as ugly dirt, but you can make it become a sacred flower. Keep watering it, tend to the roots, and always make sure that the petals are full of color and are never curling. Once you neglect your plant, it will die, as will your relationship. And that's from Susie Kassem, Rise Up and Salute the Sun, the writings of Susie Kassem. So we're going to bring back Joe just to say hello and check in.
That was amazing, Fat Five.
Thank you, Joe.
So I believe I'm going to pray and just bring this all together. I just want to share, again, I am just so proud to be leading this center. And it's you all, again, that kind of attracted me. I mean, it's the love that you guys share, the work that you put into it, the studies, as well as just being that love is tremendous. So thank you, Chris, for leading that. I thought it absolutely successful. 5 stars for my rating. So I'm going to close my eyes. Feel free to be comfortable, and let us just know together that the divine love, whether you choose to call it God or spirit or love or life, it doesn't matter. And I believe even in those words, we limit what it really is. So I like to use the word presence, that presence is who and what I am. And it is the same presence that I recognize and sense on the outside as I do on the inside. That truly, as I continue to tend to the weeds in my own garden, that there is only one beloved garden and there's only one beloved gardener. And I am that. As Jesus said, I and the Father are one. And so we recognize that oneness within us, within everyone we choose to interact with, whether it's just driving down the highway, in the grocery store, or even a spam phone call. Let us just love and know that there is love that we are experiencing. And I know that love is CSL St. George. I know that love is in and through all of its beloved community as we continue to grow and evolve in just every way possible. We welcome that love to just continue to expand and recognize the vibration that goes out into St. George and beyond. And yet again, we just bring it back to that infinite presence within, knowing it and I and we are perfect, whole, and complete. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Joe.
Of course.
All righty. It's time for announcements. Oh, good. My slide came up. So part of today's thing is I'm in the camp store at Camp Cedar Ridge in Vernonia, Oregon, and we are sharing it with a group of basketball teens, and they're using this store. And I was like, they could have all came in at one time and created all kinds of havoc. So I was just holding into my consciousness that if they do, I'll just introduce them and make it go. And it was a perfect they didn't. Anyway, I am at Camp Cedar Ridge in Vernonia, Oregon. And it is a newly purchased 32 acres, I believe it is, property in Vernonia, Oregon. It's magnificently beautiful. And we hold teen camps and we hold weddings and we hold retreats and all kinds of stuff. But the reason I'm bringing this up today is we are calling for volunteers. Donations can be financial. We hope to invite you to our newsletter. I don't have the details of that, but I'm going to invite Casey in. Maybe some cool items to sell in the camp store, or if you know anybody that has a golf cart, or all kinds of things. Anyway, you can find out more information and you can sign up to volunteer if you go to www.campcedarridgeor.org. That's the website here. I'm so blessed to be here, having this experience as we build the foundation of our camp for Centers for Spiritual Living. And I look forward to having all of you join us in some way or another, or each center. Share this with your centers or share this with other centers. But we definitely, to make this something as magnificent as I know it can be, I'm calling on you guys to come be supportive. Center for Spiritual Living, St. George's own Reverend Joe and family. Questions can be directed to Reverend Joe at stgeorgecsl@gmail.com. If you've got any questions about his new role as our head minister, go ahead and get him there. Our next in-person gathering is Saturday, August 13th. It's going to be an indoor location. We don't quite know where it's going to be, but we will let you know as soon as we can. And we are doing a back-to-school supply drive. If you contact, let's see, I guess it's Sue. I don't see exactly. Anyway, we're going to be leading this, so just start gathering your supplies, and later I'll give you the details of where you can bring the supplies that we're going to donate. We need hygiene kits, socks, gift cards, backpacks, notebooks, binders, colored pencils, markers, paper pencils, and erasers. And we're going to be taking it over to Switch Point. So start gathering up your items, and we'll give you the details later. And community support. We do have our community care circle. It is always available to those of you in need. They're family, friend members. We provide compassionate support through calls, cards, and prayers. You can call us at 435-893-6702 and leave a message. And for those of you who are seeking prayer, we do have practitioners available. And now you see how amazing we are. Go ahead and send us a request, something troubling you or something exciting that's coming up in your life, that you just would like some prayer on. You just send an email to prayer@CSLSGeorge.org. And we will get back with you. Here we go for tithes and offerings. Our center is an amazing place, and we do reach out to everyone to be an active part of our center, which includes financial support, time, tithes, talents, treasures. All of it is very, very relevant to keep us up and going. If you like it, if we're speeding you, if we're feeding you spiritually, we'd like for you to be in kind or do something in kind. So you can do that by all different kinds of ways. And we got 5 minutes left. let's see. Those are the ways. Those are not the ways. Those are the ways. So join the community conversation at noon after service. The Zoom link is on our website at cslsg.org. And you just scroll down right on the first place. There's a little button that says access meeting links, and you will see the Zoom link right there. So come join us. And in that Zoom meeting, Anita is our practitioner of the week. She will be available to you. We can take you out into a side chat where you will be privately matched with Anita for a quick and brief prayer. And next Sunday and the following Sunday, next Sunday coming up, August 7th, is Earth Force Report for Duty. And that's Reverend Daryl Jones, who is actually speaking in Atlanta, Reverend David Alt's church today. And I'm real excited to see him next Sunday. And then the following Sunday is our very own Reverend Joe. He will be back. And that is it. Oh, and the topic is the water of life. So it's time for our closing affirmation. I think we're going to bring more of us in than normal. So, because we had more people in service than normal, but here we all come. Wow, look at, we get littler and littler in the windows.
Yeah, we do.
And yet my head doesn't shrink at all.
All right, Anita.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Life.
Woohoo! Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful, everybody.
Thanks,
Wonderful.
everybody. See you in Zoom in 3 minutes.
Join us.
Bye, guys.